Okay, so wanted to make this quick video just to see testing things out a little bit. Just wanted to kind of show a little bit of the mix process of what I'm doing here. This song with my good friend Whitney. Just something to kind of put out there. Wanted to show a little bit of how I do things. Uh, I don't have a particular set in stone workflow because things can change a lot during the course of production. But essentially, for this one, this is like a soft rock, ballady type of song, and we kind of we made kind of choices accordingly to that. So essentially, what's going on here is almost all the instruments are. Well, all the instruments are already recorded. All of this has been pretty much rough mixed. Now we're just ironing out details, and we just want to kind of show you along for the ride. Okay, so this case we went with easy drums. We went with a tight room kit, super nice sounding, super tight sounding. We felt it went really well with the song. We did not want a super bombastic kit on this. I think that would have really done the song a disservice. So let's just check out what it's sounding like right now, and then we can kind of get into the nitty gritty of it. So here are the drums by themselves. I have everything in different outputs just to control them a little better. So what am I doing? Right here we have a channel, Filk channel. Love this. It's very good. We're hitting it a little saturation, not giving it 100% wetness. Just a little bit of just touching that compressor. It's a little bit aggressive, but just want to start taming those big transients, those big, super big moments like the kick and the snare, so they can have their punch, they can have their place. Didn't really do anything on the EQ. I just feel it adds a little bit of character, so it just sounds really good. This is the bus, by the way. This is the entire percussion bus. And then for what we hit it next, we hit it with a little bit of the heat wave. Really like this plugin, Steven Slate. It just adds a lot of really good, nice saturation. Again, this is just to kind of bring out a little bit of that analog energy into these otherwise cold signals. You can notice it more a little bit on the hi-hat, like that snappiness. We're getting a little bit more crispiness into that. And then we're just running Analog Obsession. Who's not going to use an 1176 on a drum bus? I don't know who wouldn't. Again, this is just very soft, just 1 dB of gain. This is just looking to control it a little bit. And then at the end we have the JST clip. Again, just looking to keep that super consistent in terms of the volume, not have those huge spikes. I don't want to put this into the red or the yellow or just barely kiss the yellow. Just control that. And then as is, this is how it will sound in this particular mix. Okay, so overall, doesn't sound bad. It sounds very good. Easy Drummer makes it very easy to get really good sounds, very consistent. Overall, I'm very happy of how that's sounding so far. But I do want to tweak it a little bit. I think we can add a little bit more body, just give it a little bit more definition without it taking too much of a leading role in the song. Maybe give it a bit more punchiness. Okay, so like I mentioned, I put everything in its separate sums. We have a kick sum. Then we have the snare sum. Should probably name these. Snare sum. And then we have the kit as it goes around. I believe this is hi-hat. Let's see. Yeah. Hat. Might just edit this part out. And just like that, everything is named. So, what are we looking at over here? So, if I just give you this view, we have the kick, the snare, everything is summed up. Things like the tom, because I can individually control them in the plugin itself. I could also obviously bounce these out, have them as audio files, probably take a little less CPU, but it's just a little bit of an easier workflow. And I can always do that later if I felt like I needed to get very specific sounds. I think I'm so happy with it as it's going now that I don't really feel like I need to. But let's take a look at this kick. Let's see what we're working with here. So I'm fairly happy with that. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit of love here. Let's go ahead and just pass just the stock Logic EQ here. Get some boosting. And then if you ever have a question on how to find a particular frequency, don't overcomplicate yourself. Just boost it, and then you can just find it. There's a lot of ways to find these frequencies. There's a lot of books to help you, but if in a pinch, if you're just struggling, don't worry about it. Just bump it up, then bump it back down. Nothing's going to happen. You're in a controlled studio setting. So I want a little bit of that clickiness over here in the 3000 such, but then obviously I don't want so much, so see the difference in that? Can't hear the beater with it off. Rule point, subtlety is the name of the game in most cases. So that's already sounding a lot better. Give it a little bit more of thumpiness. Take away some of the boxiness. There's around here. So that's already sounding a lot better. Let's see how it translates. Check it on the mix. So sounds very present. It's not just a low end information now. It's a little bit more of that little clickiness. Always check everything in the context of the mix. Now let's see the snare. Let's see what we're working with here. So there's a little bit of artificial bleed from the kick drum. It's not super annoying, but if you wanted to have just absolute silence, you can come here, get something like the silencer. And just kill anything that is below that. Have the super quietest snare ever. I love that plugin. Super good. So this snare is sounding a little dead, a little muffled. It's the point. But I think we can spice it up a little bit. I think I'm going to reach for the Kive audio, just the same filter channel, to get me some move the thumpiness. Let's get a little back, that body there. There you go. Let's see how that sounds. So you can see how that's cutting up a lot more through the mix, but it's not being super annoying. You can hear each individual snare. You can hear the ghost notes, which I love. I love that Easy Drummer adds in ghost notes. That's great. So you could pretty much leave it there, and you have a good sounding drum. It's where it needs to sit in the mix. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I am going to tweak a little bit of the toms. I'm going to maybe touch the hats and the overheads, and then we'll get into a little bit of the room and thrash and things like that. So let's see where our hi-hat is. Whoops. There's not a whole lot going into it. Hi-hats can be very powerful, so you have to be very careful on where they are and how loud they are. Giving them a little bit of brightness. Let's check out the overheads. That's where most of them are. So this overhead has a lot of snare and bass kick going into it. That can give you a bit more of a room sound. That can work well in the mix. Let's try to take it out and see how it looks like in the mix. drums by themselves. That's sounding really good. I think the cymbals sound really good in the mix. Let's see the chorus. If you're noticing, a lot of these are staying where they are because I pre-mixed them in the mixer window over here. So that's why, if you're wondering, like, why are they all so consistent? It's because of that. I think overall they sound good. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of saturation to both of these. Don't want anything else. Just a little bit of saturation. It's important to note that I'm being very subtle because these things all add up over time. And you don't want to add a whole lot everywhere because at the end it's going to sound pretty horrible. The ride's the one that had that. A little bit too much. So that's sounding really good. I think let's give it another listen on itself. And the context. So it's really important to have these thrash type mics on kits, especially they give a lot of character. It's kind of, you can use them a little bit like side chain compressing, things like that. I'm not going to side chain this particular drum because it's not rock. It's more of a ballad type, so I don't think I really need to. That information is there if you want it to be in the form of this thrash. See if you can spot it out. especially in the snare, you can really tell that that's there. It's adding a lot of character to it. Let's play around with the verb a bit. These drums are obviously a little bit dry. It's a tight room, so it's not going to have a lot of reverb. These drums should probably not have a lot going into this particular song, just because it just doesn't, I don't feel like it needs it. I have good old Abbey Road Studios here. This is the Chambers plugin. This is amazing reverb plugin. I love it. It's really good. So let's check out what it's doing. Just the reverb. Just giving me a nice big chamber. I think this is even just the default settings. I don't think I really changed anything, to be honest. So I don't like a super present drum reverb. Some people like it. I like it pretty in the background just because, again, if this were rock, I'd probably want a really reverby snare for those snare bombs and just like that impact. I think here we're pretty good at just leaving like that. Let's kind of put this in with the drums and kind of hear it come in. Obviously that's a lot, so start at 0. So what I'm sending to this is I am sending pretty much the entire kit and the room to the reverb, just so I can kind of have all those characteristics. Sometimes you might want to just send the snare. You might just want to send only the snare with the toms and things like that. I think overall it can be a very stylistic choice, and just ultimately something that's up to you. And what you want your production to sound like. I think for this sounding really good, I think we're going to touch a little bit on the toms. I have a whole section here with the toms, and we'll see how they sound. All right. I think that is pretty much, I would say that that sounds really good. Let's hear it a little bit more. Okay. Honestly, this sounds really good by itself. These drums sound really good. I really like how easy drums, the easy software in general, they have easy bass, easy keys. Really good. Honestly, really good. If you're looking for a way to get these instruments to sound very natural, I think they have a lot of really good ways to do it. This is, of course, just one kit. They have a lot of kits. I am mainly a pop punk guy, so I have the pop punk one as well. They have a lot of metal ones, R&B. Overall, honestly, really, really, really good plugins. So I definitely highly encourage you to check these out. So I think that's going to do it for me in terms of this video. I just wanted to, like I mentioned, show a little bit about this song. Hopefully somebody will find it interesting. You'll likely be seeing more of this song. Maybe next time we'll take a look at the guitars. There's a lot of really cool things happening in the guitars here. A lot of layers here. Guitars doing very simple things, but layered guitars is something that I really, really enjoy. So if you like that, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all the jams, all the gists. I'll see you next time. Bye.